I found a second license hidden in my grandfather's fishing papers. It wasn't for lobster. When my grandfather passed, I inherited his boat and his lobster license, one of the few remaining full-timers in the region. Those things are gold around here. They get passed down, bought up by big firms, or fought over in court. I wasn't planning on using it. I hadn't fished since I was a teenager. But the city wore me down, and grief has a funny way of pulling you back to the places that shaped you. So I came back. The boat was in decent shape. The traps needed work. I figured I'd give it a go for a season. Then, while sorting through his documents, I found it. Another license, tucked behind the official one in a crumbling envelope. Across the top, Special Authority, Class M. It looked ridiculous. Weathered parchment instead of modern laminate. A symbol like a spiral carved into a skull. Scribbled beneath it in my grandfather's hand, active, feed it or fight it. I thought it was a joke, until I showed it to Davy. Davy's an old-timer, been fishing since before GPS. 3 fingers missing on one hand, drinks rum with his coffee, and swears the sea is watching us. When he saw the Class M license, the color drained from his face. "Where'd you get this?" "My grandfather's drawer." He sat down, didn't say a word for a while. Then he said, "That's not for lobster. That's for them." He didn't laugh, not once. Just told me the license wasn't a joke. Said it was issued during the war to certain fishermen tasked with keeping the waters clean of things that weren't natural. Things that didn't belong in the ocean or anywhere. He called it the monster license. Said once you hold it, it's your job to keep watch. And if you ever see anything strange in the Blue Ridge Deep, you don't call for help. You take care of it yourself, because if you don't, nobody will. He lifted up his fingerless hand. I came back. My brother wasn't so lucky. I didn't believe him, obviously, but I still found myself heading to Blue Ridge the next night. I told myself I was just checking traps, but I didn't drop any. I had the Class M license in my pocket. The sea was silent, not calm, silent. No gulls, no insects, just the slow suck of the tide. Then my sonar pinged. I hadn't seen it in years, but I knew the shape of a school, the arc of a big fish. This wasn't that. It was a massive return, stationary, rising. The boat shifted gently at first, then harder, rocking side to side. Water sloshed over the rails. That's when I heard it. A low groan beneath the waves, like steel twisting, like something waking up. A claw, the size of a man, slammed onto the side of the boat and tore through the railing. I fell, smashed my head against the throttle. I barely had time to crawl when it surged onto the deck. It had a long, segmented body like an insect, but with the wet, shining skin of a deep sea creature. Limbs that ended in crab-like cutters. Its head was wrong. Too many eyes, all locked on me. It lunged. I grabbed a gaff hook and drove it into the thing's side. It shrieked and knocked me across the deck. I landed hard on the wheelhouse steps, felt something crack in my side. My leg was bleeding. My ribs were broken. The monster climbed toward me, slow and deliberate, like it knew it had already won. I reached for anything. A tool, a knife, a rope. My fingers closed on plastic, the flare gun. I didn't think. I aimed for the center of its chest and pulled the trigger. The flare exploded into its body with a wet, hissing pop. It let out this awful, gurgling scream, thrashed violently and threw itself overboard, the deck splitting behind it. I lay there for a long time, bleeding, shaking, alone. I limped the boat back to shore as the sun rose. At the dock, I climbed off and collapsed. Someone called an ambulance. I told them it was a motor accident. They didn't ask too many questions. I spent the night in the hospital, got stitched up, cracked ribs, gash in my thigh, mild concussion. They released me the next morning. I went straight to the boatyard. My plan was to strip everything, sell the license, burn the papers, leave. But when I stepped on the deck, I saw the drawer open. The Class M license sat there, speckled with dried blood. I thought of my grandfather, of how he'd kept fishing year after year, of what might have happened to this town if he hadn't. That monster wasn't the only one. There are others, maybe worse. I looked out at the horizon, fog rolling in, Then I locked the drawer, picked up my machete, restocked the flare gun, and fueled up the boat. If no one else is going to protect these waters, I guess it's up to me.